What's up? It's John, J-Tech. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you components of a clutch, and then shortly afterwards I'm going to give you a power flow diagram of a manual transmission. First, start with the clutch, because I figured catch the motor, we'll start there. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and start with where everything starts, and we'll end with where everything ends. Does that mean, makes sense, right? First thing we got here is our flywheel. Alrighty, and this is what we got here. This is our pilot bearing. This is going to attach to the motor here, or the crankshaft to be exact, on your motor. And this is what's going to be our driving force. And our pilot bearing in the middle there that I pointed out will be for the input shaft of the transmission to rest in, so it has a steady, straight line to be worked on. Next piece we have in our assembly is the clutch disc itself. It will have located on it a up position and then at this side towards the flywheel position. And make sure you put it in properly to avoid misalignments and chatters and not releasing. Next we have what is known as our pressure plate, or cover is another word for it. And if you notice on our cover and flywheel here, we have little slots in our cover to line little dimples on our flex plate here. Okay? And what you would do is you would use your lineup tool when installing one of these to make sure everything lines up properly and you have nice free floating whenever the clutch is depressed, so the pressure plate is released from the clutch disc itself. Alrighty, so now we have our clutch assembly for the most part here. Next we have our throwout bearing and our clutch fork assembly. Now this is going to pivot on a ball inside of the transmission here, and it's going to apply pressure from the slave cylinder here to go ahead and push on these tangs here on our cover pressure plate to release this big old chunk of metal to allow this clutch disc to spin freely so we can change gears effortlessly. Alright, now next thing we got, that's just the clutch. After it reaches the clutch, it goes to the transmission. Alright. Bam! Transmission. Alright, here we have our input shaft. Remember I was talking about that pilot bearing? This input shaft is going to go right into that pilot bearing and help stabilize it so it doesn't wiggle around as much as you see here. Alright, first thing we're going to do here is, I'm going to go ahead and turn so y'all can have a better view. Power is going to come into our input shaft here. Notice nothing's coming out of our output shaft because we are still in neutral. Alrighty, we have our bearings here to help stabilize the front shaft and our counter shaft down here at the bottom. And then we have our mating gears. Our biggest gear on our main shaft here is going to be first, okay? And these are helical gears, okay? And you have basically 3 shafts as a part of this. 4 if you want to get super technical. You have your input, main, your counter shaft here, and then your output. And then if you want to get really technical, you have a reverse idler gear on a reverse idler shaft as well. But I digress. First thing our power flow is going to do is, as you can see, it's going to come in through our input shaft, transfer down to our counter shaft here, where it's going to go turn and do absolutely nothing because we are in no gear at all. So what we're going to do is use our shifter to go ahead and use our shift fork and shift rail to move our synchro over and engage first gear. If I can allow this trans will let me do it. Oh, it says no, it won't let me. But anyway, I digress. What would happen is power would come in through here, transfer down on our main first set of gear reduction here to our counter shaft, and then it's going to travel up to our first gear selector here onto our main shaft, and then it's going to go ahead and transfer to our output shaft here to go ahead and put output power towards the rear of the vehicle, and a rear wheel drive setup such as this. All right, and then to engage reverse, I figured that would be a good, nice key point. So, just a minor before I get into that though is, like I mentioned, right here is first because it has the big gear on our main shaft, okay? Which also means next smallest gear is going to be second, next smallest will be third, and then fourth. And then we have fifth gear on the back over here, located on a really tiny gear located in the back, where also our reverse is located, right? Yeah. All right, and for our reverse to engage, it has to engage this gear here, like so, to cause the shaft to spin in the opposite direction. Okay? And it resides, like I mentioned earlier, on a reverse idler gear shaft. But power flow is still pretty much the same. It goes in input shaft, hits our gears down here to our counter shaft, comes over, and instead of going from counter shaft directly to output shaft, it just hits our reverse idler gear, then hits our output shaft to give us reverse. All right, hope y'all learned some stuff today. My name is John with JTech. And it was class of 22, and I hope you have a great day.